The Cast Compass Podcast, hosted by Michelle and Lisa Cast. Welcome to the Cast Compass Podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lisa. And we're a couple of moms, and your hosts on this wild, beautiful ride called life.
We're here to help you navigate your next phase, whether that's family building, career shifts, personal growth, or rewriting the story of what your life should look like.
Our path hasn't been traditional. IVF, job losses, parenting through chaos, starting over in our 40s. But we've learned how to trust our gut and follow our compass, even when it's scary.
Each week we'll bring real talk, a little astrology, a lot of heart, and stories that make you feel seen.
So if you're craving connection, clarity, and maybe a cocktail along the way,
welcome home.
Welcome to the Cast Compass Podcast. We're Michelle and Lisa, partners in life, moms to our 3-year-old son, Leo.
And guides for anyone navigating their next big chapter. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lisa.
And this is episode 5.
Eggs, Empowerment, and LGBTQ Fertility with Dr. Aimee, the Egg Whisperer.
We're back in the waiting period.
I can't believe we're back to it.
I know, doing meds, supplements, fitness, you name it. But this time we've got the Egg Whisperer on our side. It kind of feels like a dream come true.
It really does, because we knew Dr. Aimee a long time ago.
I never thought.
Before Dr. Aimee was like, you should work with Dr. Aimee. I don't know if you know her, but she's the Egg Whisperer. We're like, duh, of course we know who Dr. Aimee is.
Everyone does.
So we've got questions and Dr. Aimee's got answers. So let's go.
Dr. Aimee, we're so thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much. If you don't already follow Dr. Aimee, as we said, she is known online as the Egg Whisperer. She's a renowned reproductive endocrinologist. That's a mouthful, huh? Host of the Egg Whisperer Show and one of the most trusted voices in fertility care. She's helped thousands of people navigate the highs and lows of trying to conceive with humor, heart, and cutting-edge science. And now she's here with us. I feel like I'm having a celebrity moment.
I know. We're so honored because we're currently working with Dr. Aimee as we prepare for another round of IVF. And she has been such a source of hope and knowledge throughout our journey.
We have been, like we said, longtime fans of your work, and honestly, it feels a little surreal to be here as both your patients and podcast hosts. So thank you so much again, Dr. Aimee.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I mean, you call me renowned. My sister would call me annoying, but I love that I'm here with you today. So thank you for, being a fan, because, I just get teased all day by my family.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to try to figure out Dr. Aimee's sign by the end of this.
Oh,
don't tell me yet.
Are you going to do that?
I'm going to try.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Go ahead,
do that with all our guests.
I know.
Before we dive in, a quick heads up. The Cast Compass Podcast now drops on Tuesdays. So make sure you're following us so you never miss an episode.
All right, let's get into it. Egg health, fertility myths, and the road to baby number 2. Whether you're in the fertility trenches or just curious about how it all works, this episode is for you.
So a quick check-in of where we're at. This part of our journey honestly feels like newfound hope. I could cry, quite frankly.
Especially for you.
Yeah, I kicked IVF to the curb. And I was like, see you later. I got bigger and better things to do. And then Dr. Levine was like, I have an idea. And I was like, you always have an idea.
He does always have an idea.
So we knew Dr. Aimee through Instagram and her work, but we really never imagined her guidance in our own real life, ever. Or that we'd need it, honestly.
Yeah.
Now we're following her protocol while continuing to work with Dr. Levine as well. It feels like we're really giving ourselves every shot.
Literally, but not yet shots. But soon
Not shots. Soon shots next month.
Getting back into the IVF group definitely feels different this time. We know so much more. We're focused on supplements, which is definitely a bigger focus for us this time. New meds, which makes me feel like we're in the film Death Becomes Her. Better sleep. Fitness. It's a whole new lifestyle. So shockingly, also, Lisa's AMH wasn't half as bad as we expected. Dr. Aimee was like, hello, you're okay, which was a really nice surprise. So.
I really couldn't believe it.
Dr. Aimee, we're going to hand it to you. Take us back to where this all started for you. How did you become the Egg Whisperer?
Well, it was really a patient of mine. I mean, she gave up all hope, and I've been called a hope dealer. I'm not sure if it was a compliment or not, but it was really a patient who was like, I'm done. And I was like, oh, hell no, you're not done. If I'm not done, you're not done. And she's like, what? And so I put her through one more cycle, and she got pregnant, and she couldn't believe it. She actually could not believe it until, probably the second trimester. And she got a little bit mad at me because I ended up putting in 2 embryos and she ended up having twins. And she was like, I mean, I thought it would not work. And then if it did work, it would only be 1. And yeah, she had 2 beautiful boys. And as a gift to me, she gave me the website, eggwhisperer.com. She's like, you're my egg whisperer. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but this is yours. And, I just basically from there decided to build a platform where I educate people about their fertility, help people get their levels checked. And that's kind of where it all started.
Oh my God, I love that.
That is so cool.
That's like amazing. And you remind me of Dr. Levine when you say, you're not done because I'm not done. Like, see, literally,
right.
That's what he said to Lisa.
I've had patients tell me, Dr. Aimee, I think you want me to be pregnant more than I do. I'm like, that sounds about right.
That's amazing, though. That's exactly when you're going through this journey. That's exactly what you need. And like, before we met you and started working with you, we told everyone, like, Dr. Levine's our guy. Like, he's in it with you. And to like know that you're also an option for people, right? The 2 of you together for us is going to be like a power duo.
Huge.
Yeah. But
Dream
like,
team.
You can't work with a doctor that doesn't make you feel that way.
Right.
Like, it just, I don't know. I couldn't see it any other way. I feel so lucky.
We are really lucky because we haven't worked with any other reproductive endocrinologists. That's what it's called. Right? Fertility doctors.
Renowned.
We've been really lucky that we haven't bounced around fertility clinics. Mm-hmm. We've stuck, tried and true CCRM, and now we've got, Dr. Aimee in our corner as well. And it's a really, really big deal. You need to make sure that you have the right support around you through and through.
Yeah.
From the nurses to the doctors, all that. So you've met and supported thousands of patients. Is there a story or a moment, aside from the one you just told us, that's really stuck with you?
I mean, I have had patients where they've been told, just like you said, you haven't been traumatized by terrible experiences in fertility clinics. And I have one particular patient, I know she's going to listen to this. And she went to a clinic and they told her, even if you had all the money in the world, you would never get pregnant through IVF with your own eggs. Yeah. So she came to me, and I'm very competitive, and I'm stubborn. I bet you're going to figure out what my sign is.
I'm there.
She's adding it all up.
Yeah.
Yes. And long story short, I did IVF for her, and it was a fresh embryo transfer. Back in the day, I transferred 2 embryos because of her age, and she had twin girls. And I told her, when you're breastfeeding them, just cradle them and just have one of them lift up their middle finger and send that picture to the last doctor. I was kidding, of course. She did not do that.
Oh, damn.
We just look back. It's all about love. I just feel like that was the gift that he gave her to make her feel empowered, be more resilient. And clearly she was just as stubborn as I was, because she wouldn't take that as an answer for herself. And so that's just one of many stories that I have to share. And she actually named one of the girls Aimee. Poor girl.
So sweet.
Did she spell it AMY or AIME?
AIME.
Oh.
And I actually have a patient. Now I feel sorry for her. She gave her daughter's middle name my last name.
Ooh.
Not. Wow. I know. And I was like, please tell me that's a joke. Please don't do that. And she did.
That's a spelling.
I was trying to, find someone with a 1-syllable last name that I could marry, and I could not. So I'm stuck with this name.
Well, Lisa switched to my last name because
I did, yeah.
It was easier than her last name.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the only reason.
Not the only reason.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, if you look at Dr. Aimee's Instagram, before watching any of her videos, I mean, obviously, humor doesn't come through in photos all the time. But Dr. Aimee, you are so funny. Your sense of humor is spot on. Wait,
I was actually surprised.
When are we going to guess her zodiac
Wait,
sign?
you have a guess?
Yeah.
Go ahead, say your guess. This is going to be the Lisa astrology episode.
It's so early in the episode. Are you a Taurus?
I totally am. Yes.
Obviously. Listen to her sarcasm and her stubbornness.
Yeah. When she said stubbornness and competitiveness, I was like, oh, she's taking me off the fire track.
She is a Taurus. Yeah. I knew it right then and there. And then just listening to your sense of humor reminds me so much of myself because I'm also a Taurus.
I love it. Are you May?
End of April.
Oh, that's
I knew
exciting.
it. I knew it was. I was going to be like, is your birthday end of April? Are you the 29th?
25th.
Oh,
okay.
27th.
I'm 27th.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that.
I love this. Amazing.
Well, you found your perfect
Well, now
match.
I've got, now I know for sure we're
And
working with the right person.
because Dr. Levine's a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So we've got the fire and the earth.
On both sides.
I love it. So we started IVF at 38. And we've been surrounded by fertility conversations for years now. And there's so much fear around turning 35.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate fear, sure.
Yeah.
But people feel like turning 35, like it's a ticking time bomb. What's your take on that? And especially from your perspective as someone who works with patients of all ages, but I'm sure a lot of your patients are closer to maybe our age.
yeah. I mean, most of my patients are over 40. My average patient is around 42. So when I see women who are under 35, it is very common for them to be freaked out about that age. You know, they have timelines that are stuck in their head and they're like, I have to have a baby by 35 because I think something terrible is going to happen. But there's no egg cliff at 35. Our fertility naturally changes over time. Mm-hmm. It's normal and it happens slowly. Nothing happens all of a sudden at 35. But they're just medical diagnoses that are used to describe people. And there's just a term at 35 that's used that's not very nice. And I wish it would go away, which is advanced maternal age, which is lame.
Oh, the worst one is geriatric.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, we never call, men that, and so it's just very mean and I don't think very hopeful and supportive. But what I want women to do is learn about the fertility at a young age. I want every 25-year-old to get like a personalized, comprehensive fertility workup done where, someone's talking to them about their family history. They're doing genetic screening. They're doing an ultrasound. They're checking their hormone levels. Whether you want kids or not, having this information at a young age will be really powerful. And I feel like the time's going to come. I mean, it's not here yet, but I think it's going to come soon where that is the expected, part of your annual exam. Mm-hmm. Like right now, sometimes OBGYNs are bringing up fertility to their patients. It's a lot better now than it was 10 years ago, but I feel like it will be a normal routine, thing that OBs will be doing and fertility doctors will be offering patients, and patients will know, oh, I'm 25, it's time for my comprehensive fertility check.
We've been talking about this, like, we don't understand why it's not a thing. Like from your mouth to whatever you believe in's ears, like, yes, 100%. And we could share a personal story. Yeah. We don't have to say specifically who, but go ahead. Yeah,
a person very, 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 very close to us found out around the age of 40 that she had a bicornate uterus. And
she didn't know prior to 40.
She had absolutely no idea. She had only just found out. The doctor said, I think the fallopian tube wasn't attached on one side, that she'd been bleeding out all these years during all of her cycles. And right now, she's supposed to get surgery to fix it, but she's not going to carry a child. I mean, her circumstances just aren't headed in that direction, but it was what she was hoping to begin. And then devastating information came just so late in life. So late. It was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
Right.
That's a diagnosis that would have been made in her 20s so she could plan her future if she wanted an option for herself.
Right. Yeah. It's so wild.
We've been talking about this. It's crazy. I mean, I feel like unless you do have an issue, you have no idea. So, like, I had PCOS from a very, 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 very early age. 17, 18, irregular cycles my entire adolescence, right? And so finally, I had a great OBGYN that I used to actually go to in Queens because that's where my sister and her good friend went. He was fantastic. I'll never forget him. He was the one that diagnosed my PCOS. I couldn't lose weight. You know how PCOS is. It's a double-edged sword. It's like you can't lose weight, but you keep gaining weight. And it's like a whole thing where it mimics diabetes, works against, obviously, I don't have to tell Dr. Aimee, she's the expert. But like, he was like, this is what you're experiencing. This is why you're having hair loss. This is why you're having breakouts. This is why you're, irregular. And so because of that, I had regular sonograms, ultrasounds every year. So I knew exactly what was going on in there. And for me, I had a doctor actually after I was working with him when we moved to Long Island. We were done with college. We were on our own. And she was the one who said, I know you want to have kids one day. If you don't lose weight and get your PCOS under control, you might never have kids. I don't know if that was entirely true, but it did definitely scare me. But that kind of put the idea in my head that I was going to be the one who had a hard time. But because of knowing and because I had PCOS, there was like always that focus to my fertility. Lisa had no issues. Right. So there was no focus on your fertility. No. Same with this other person we know.
Regular cycles, clockwork, figuring everything is just fine. And like, listen, there is nothing technically wrong. Right? It's just I may have not, I started late and so many other factors involved, and Dr. Aimee's going to help me replenish my body and get those levels up, and we're going to see if we can knock this one out of the park. But yeah, it's true. Yeah. Those of us who don't, like the person I just spoke about, never had irregular cycles, never had a reason to get a sonogram or an ultrasound. And then, bam, devastating life information at a very late age.
And I'm sure you're seeing that with a lot of your patients too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people are just waiting longer, and sometimes the first time that they have interactions with doctors, the first time they actually go under anesthesia is when they're doing an egg retrieval. Yeah. So it's the first time someone's actually talking to them about their periods, so these conversations should be had much earlier.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we don't want to give away all the goods of the things you're doing with us, because we want people to work with you too. But Lisa, do you want to take us into this next part? And then we have some fun, other fun questions too.
So Dr. Aimee, for someone who's listening and they're saying to themselves, I didn't know I could work with Dr. Aimee. How do they get started? What are some of the options available, especially if they're not local? Because if people don't know, Dr. Aimee is actually on the West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, you have to be really nice. If you're not nice and you don't laugh at my jokes, please don't fill out the contact form. So you go to draimee.org. There's a contact form on the website, schedule a consult, and you just press the little button, and then you fill out all your information, and then one of my new patient coordinators will reach out to you. I'm totally insane. I know it. I actually have my medical license in all 50 states plus Washington, D.C. I can literally take care of anyone who comes to me from any state in this country, unlike any other doctor. Yeah, it took about 5 years. My fingers were raw from all the fingerprints that I had to do. Lots of exams for each state, but I do. So people can very comfortably reach out, and I can prescribe medications to them. I can give them share my advice with them, and do all I can to support you.
That's amazing. And I'm going to just say something very personal for people. Because Lisa and I had gone through so much, because Lisa was very turned off to the fertility process, we dragged our feet on that consultation paperwork, y'all. Dr. Aimee's team was so gentle, so kind.
I was the worst. I wouldn't fill it out.
We were bad. But it wasn't that bad. Once we got into it, it really wasn't that bad.
Well, the problem was this. I was so emotional about having to potentially relive everything I had gone through over the last few years. I was just like, these people got to be kidding me. I got to tell them I got to fill out this paperwork. I was so upset. Michelle's like, we got to do the paperwork. They reached out again. I was like, yeah. And then finally I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. Dr. Logan's going to be so mad at us. We haven't started Dr. Aimee yet. Sorry, it's just a little emotional there. But yes, it really is not that bad. So just fill it out.
Well, it's tedious because I expect people who have been through so much to get to the point where they're seeing me, but I had this expectation, if I were the patient, that I would want someone to come into the consult having reviewed everything. And I don't spend the consult time asking you to share your story with me. I already know the story. I'm there to talk to you about what your goals, priorities are, what you want to do next and how I can honor that, and then give you my best recommendations for how to give you the best chance. But yeah, it's a pain. There's no doubt about it. It is.
It really wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
I promise you. I'm just an emotional, stubborn.
It works out though, but just giving people who are in a similar boat, maybe.
Yes.
Don't let the paperwork scare you.
Yes.
And I know we were talking about the astrology thing. Totally a Taurus, yes. But I'm still getting a fire vibe. Do you know your rising sign, Dr. Aimee?
I have no idea what that means.
I'm feeling that she might have an Aries rising.
I can feel that.
Right?
I can sense that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Potentially Scorpio, though.
She's getting to the point, though, you know? I don't know. We'll see. So we have some great questions, which, I mean, we've touched on some of this, but is there anything else that one thing you wish that every person did know about their fertility?
Yeah, the one thing I wish they did know about their fertility is that it's precious and shouldn't be taken for granted. I think so many people, they freeze their eggs thinking that they can just have a kid whenever they're ready, but that's just not necessarily how it works. And, people I think get disillusioned real quickly when they learn that, let's say, their eggs don't thaw well, or they find out when they're ready to have that baby that now they have endometriosis or fibroids. I would just say, don't take your fertility for granted. And, that's basically it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Well, we know that it's fragile.
We've learned so much, too. Yeah.
How do you approach dual support with someone who's already working with a reproductive endocrinologist like us?
Yeah, so I have doctors like Dr. Levine. I work great with him. We work collaboratively. We talk, we exchange emails, ideas, and we talk about like how we can best both support you. Not everyone is as cool as he is. Some doctors are not as open to hearing what another doctor has to say. And so what I do is I help advocate for what I do is I help the patient advocate for themselves. I'll craft email messages to send to the clinical team as if the patient is, asking for things, but they're really the things that I want her to ask for.
It's amazing.
And I'll give you a little tip. No one gets mad at an acupuncturist. So I always say, this is how you write your email. Dear doctor, I met with my acupuncturist the other day, and she was wondering if you could take a look at my uterus a little bit more closely and see if you think I might have adenomyosis, because she thinks based on the symptoms I'm describing to her, I might.
You're giving me your secrets.
Yeah, so that's the secret, because people don't get defensive. And, we're all humans. We take what we do very seriously and personally. For me, there's no ego in the process that I go through with patients. The only thing that satisfies my ego is my patient's success story. Yeah. And also, I know not everyone has a success story, but I also want them to feel like they gave it their all and don't have any regret. So that's how I work with folks who don't have a fertility doctor on the other side that will work collaboratively with me. But I have some docs that are like, all over the country, even the world, that say, whatever Aimee wants, she'll make the calendar for you. She'll tell me when you want to be seen. She'll tell us when you want the trigger shot, and I'll just do the egg retrieval. And I just kind of help manage everything. I would say that they're, probably about 25% of the patients that I take care of, they do have doctors that are happy with my help. And about 75% would be very happy if I didn't exist, because I'm a thorn in their side. And I don't care, because I don't care what they say about me. The patients will say, I told the doctor that I listened to your podcast. And they're like, oh, you should never listen to our podcast. And I'm like, that's fine.
Oh, marron.
Yeah. Are you Italian?
A little bit. You got to be kidding me.
Why wouldn't everyone just want everyone to succeed,
Well, the thing is that my approach to care is individualized and personalized.
Of course.
And these big clinics that have 13 doctors that work there, those doctors, a lot of them don't even know how to mix shots. They don't even know how the calendars are made, because a nursing team is doing it for them, And so they can't individualize protocols, because that's just not something that they can do, because everyone has to be treated the same. All the retrievals have to be on Wednesday. All the biopsies have to be on Mondays, just because of how many patients they're serving. And so if I come in and say to the patient, I think you're oversuppressed. I think using agestin, for 2 weeks before you start stim is too much for your body. Your follicle count is low. You need to come off the suppression and have them consider a natural cycle start. But a clinic might not be able to do that, because they have to line all their patients up and have the stim start on a certain day.
I am just blown away at how lucky we are.
I know.
I knew we were lucky, but hearing this is unheard of. I didn't even know this happened in the world. Wow.
I thought we knew everything.
Oh, clearly not.
Even I knew you have to come off the patches to stop suppressing so that we can gain some more follicle. No, I'm not a doctor, I promise. I probably said that wrong.
No, we know a lot. We've been through it, but wow. Yeah. We're very lucky.
No, we really, really are. And now we're even luckier that we've got Dr. Aimee for
sure.
real.
You mentioned the egg freezing, and I feel like we hit on the common misconceptions, but I do think it's important for our younger listeners. Is there anything else you would note about egg freezing, ages, importance, really what the outcomes end up being? Anything more to go a little deeper on that element?
Yeah, I mean, the younger you are, the better your egg quality is going to be. So, if you're considering egg freezing, don't wait, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've done it, and then you're going to use your eggs at an age where your eggs have likely run out. So let's say you froze at 32 and you're getting close to 40, consider doing more egg freezing. Consider making embryos. Don't just assume that the eggs that you froze at 32 are enough. Mm-hmm. The other tip that I share with my patients is give yourself at least a 50% chance of having 2 kids with the eggs that you have frozen. That's how you know if you've frozen enough. So a lot of patients, they'll go in, they'll do their egg freezing. They don't do a post-egg freezing consult with the doctor. The doctor's not sitting down with them and talking to them about what their goals are. But that's one tip that I have for patients is, let's say you are 37 years old, you want 2 kids. Well, make sure you've frozen enough for 2, not just one set, maybe 12 eggs, and you think that you're done, because that just might not be enough.
That's great advice. Because, I know a friend of ours who froze and had 7 or 8, and I don't know that they froze again.
Yeah, she froze 8. Yeah.
Wow. That's great advice. Something that I love too in one of your most recent posts that we actually shared was just kind of talking about access and advocacy in fertility. We talked already about this, people knowing their fertility at a younger age, single women by choice. I mentioned PCOS. How can these types of individuals, and of course specifically for our audience and ourselves, which is not just LGBTQ people, we have a lot of listeners who are not necessarily LGBTQ, but how can people navigate access and advocacy in fertility if they're in one of these groups?
So I think going to see a trusted provider, most of the time it's your OBGYN, and you just ask simple questions. Hi, doctor, what does my AMH say about me? Do you think I might have PCOS? Do you think I might have endometriosis? Do you think I might have a uterine anomaly? Getting pregnant and having the option to have a baby is really important to me. Is there anything about my medical history, the medications that I'm on, my family history that I should know about? I want to be as proactive as possible. So if you go through that list of things, it gets the doctor to actually look at your chart and say okay, let me look at your chart. Are your periods regular? Do you have, signs of high androgens? No, I don't think you have PCOS. Oh, you asked me about whether you have endometriosis or fibroids. I actually haven't ordered an ultrasound for you. I need to order an ultrasound for you. So if you ask, just go through that list. Do I have PCOS? Do I have a uterine anomaly? Do I have decreased ovarian reserve, endometriosis? Then you can't miss that diagnosis most of the time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's perfect.
It's such valuable information, and something that came up for us, and not to harp on it too much, but we talked to Dr. Aimee about it too, but your health, your level of health, right? Your level of fitness. Dr. Levine gave us a really interesting kind of nugget that we didn't know. You want to kind of touch on that a little bit?
Oh, how all the medication I was taking was fat soluble?
Well, yeah, if you are in a larger body, we can only pump you with so much meds. And he didn't say larger body at all.
No.
But I'm saying meds can only go so far.
Right.
And so Dr. Aimee liked to call it 10-minute mile fit, whatever that means for you, 12-minute mile fit, 15-minute mile fit. Health and fitness plays a really big part in this. And we knew that, but I don't think we really knew that.
At the same time, I think Dr. Levine understood that I may not have had the time to put that in, right? Because we had a toddler, and we had an infant, we had a toddler, and he was like, "We can make this happen." He's like, "We can make this happen. That's good. What you're doing is good. We can make this happen." But unfortunately for me, it wasn't enough, and so overall health, your body, right? Dr. Aimee's got us on some really interesting supplements that some we've heard of, some we haven't heard of. And like Michelle said, we feel like we're going through a little bit of a death becomes her, like we're reviving our bodies back to a younger state. Might have
am I Goldie, you're Meryl?
No, yes, of course I'm Meryl, obviously. But it's overall, it's important, right? Yeah. The healthier we are inside and out, and even like mental, emotional, all of it comes into play.
And sleep. I mean, we didn't.
The amount of melatonin we. I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet, Dr. Aimee. We're easing in. We're easing in.
No, but I actually recently heard someone else was like, I'm taking melatonin for fertility. I had no idea that was a thing. So I think the list that Dr. Aimee just provided, along with keeping your overall health, as a mindset, I think is really important too.
Absolutely.
I tell patients your eggs need their beauty sleep too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got some fun rapid fire questions, which we've already figured out the astrology sign. So Dr. Aimee, do you have a go-to coffee or tea order?
Oh, black coffee all the way.
Yes.
Taurus.
If I could high five you, I would high five you right now.
What about a kind of go-to self-care ritual?
Oh, EDM. Oh. I love Diplo. So anytime I'm feeling stressed, I just put on Diplo, and the faster the beat, the better. I know that sounds weird because that doesn't feel relaxing to a lot of people, but it's actually quite relaxing for me.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It works.
Yeah, it totally works.
Love it.
That's so cool. One thing you're currently obsessed with?
Making Diplo my husband. So for my birthday, my staff made me a cake and they put a topless picture of Diplo on it. They knew I would love it. So I actually have a friend who knows him, and it was like the best birthday present ever. She sent it to him, and then he said, cute. I was like, oh my God, he loves me.
He totally loves you.
He totally loves me. But he has this run, it's called the Diplo Run. And that same friend actually is, again, friends with him. So she got me VIP passes and stage passes. So like, he doesn't know that we're madly in love and we're going to be together forever, but I feel like it's going to be soon. So I was on stage with him this past year, that maybe it's going to happen again. And yeah, so I'm obsessed with him slightly.
It's coming. I don't even know what he looks like. I have to look at him.
I have no idea what he looks like.
No.
But we are fans of EDM.
We are.
We've got the Diplo station on our Sirius XM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even it's funny, we listened to it a lot when I was pregnant.
We did.
And when we put it on, Leo will be like, oh, I like that beat. What's that song?
Yeah.
So cute because he loves the drums and all that. So I feel like
he loves a good beat.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. I love that.
So fun. So we had a fun little segment idea here, what we wish we knew, fertility
so many
edition.
Things.
I already mentioned it. I wish I knew that just because I had PCOS didn't mean I couldn't have a child. Quite the opposite. I had plenty of eggs.
Tons.
They just hung around longer. Not that numbers really matter, but for almost 43, I have a 1.25 AMH. That's kind of high, but I feel like that's indicative with PCOS.
Yeah, I mean, it's superpower. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So really, it's the quality that became the challenge. And I really do kind of wish I understood that nuance sooner. We talked about this, right? Earlier access to fertility, because it would have saved me a lot of fear. And maybe if we did have that earlier access and we knew your AMH was maybe naturally lower and that I had the eggs, we needed to find the good eggs, then we maybe would have started with you.
Right. We would have done more retrievals with me in the beginning. Because for me, just because I never had any gynecological issues or even hormonal issues, it didn't mean that it was going to be easy. Like that, I wish like you said. Infertility is unpredictable. We assumed that my cycles were regular. Twins run in my family. Like, people are just getting pregnant left and right. And mind you, everybody got pregnant really young.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's fraternal twins on both sides of my family, and I'm an identical twin. So it just seemed like, we're having babies and we're having multiples and this is going to be great. And not yet.
That's so crazy. Dr. Aimee, out of curiosity, have you noticed any patterns or connections when it comes to twins and fertility?
Not really. I mean, the only thing that can happen is when you transfer 2 embryos, you have a higher chance of having twins.
Right.
And when you transfer 1, in a natural situation, when someone ovulates 1 egg and 1 embryo forms, that embryo has a very small chance of turning into identical twins. But when you do IVF and you transfer one embryo, there's actually a much higher chance, still low. It's about 3 to 4% that one embryo can actually split into two.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, Dr. Levine told us that there was a like a DNA marker or like some genetic marker you would have had to have,
right,
that you and your sister would have both had to mean that your fertility was impacted because you're a twin, and he said you don't have it.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What you're saying is, like, if you have twins, is there like a difference in the fertility of one twin versus the other?
Right. Or like, do you see with identical twin females like that they have fertility issues or anything?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I've had twins, identical twins, where one actually donated eggs to the other because the other one ran out at an earlier age.
Wow.
You know, so I don't think, you would think that their fertility would be pretty similar because they're identical,
right,
but it doesn't always work out that way.
Very interesting, right?
Wow.
Dr. Aimee, is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you would think would be helpful or interesting or good for people to know?
Yeah, I would say go with the flow. You know, I think that with what's going on in the world right now, we're all trying to control things that are out of our control because of just the insanity that's around us. But I just want people to just breathe in and breathe out. And literally, as you're going through fertility treatment, just kind of let it go and go with the flow. At the same time, advocate for yourself. But like the amount of times people are peeing on sticks, checking their temperature, fingering themselves, checking their cervix. I did just say that, tracking their cervical mucus. I'm like, I don't need to see pictures of your cervical mucus. Keep that to yourself. But I think that's like the best thing I could tell people is like, just be really kind to yourself and know that you didn't do anything to cause this. Go with the flow, find joy in every single moment and every single day because life is too damn short. Don't worry about what other people are going to think about you, about what you're doing. You only have one chance to do it. So do it the way you want to and just believe in yourself the way I believe in you.
I mean, I will attest to that because when we had our call with Dr. Aimee, she was like, good, you're good, chill. 10-minute my outfit. Don't, relax. It's okay. Everything, it took I don't know, start next week. Start in 3 weeks. It'll be 2 months. And then you'll do stims. Very
so
chill, easy, don't stress. And it really, it's helping for me because I'm a very type A. Yeah. We got to do it all right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, Dr. Aimee, I trust her. We're good.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, this has been amazing.
Chock full. I love it.
Gosh, Dr. Aimee, I knew you were going to nail this.
She does this.
Obviously, I know. That's why I was like, this will be easy. Plus, she's a Taurus.
Oh, no.
If you know someone on a fertility journey, especially someone in the LGBTQ plus community, tag them or share this episode. Dr. Aimee has so many amazing resources that we will list in the show notes.
Absolutely. Website, Instagram, follow, check her out. Dr. Aimee, thank you. Say that again.
OnlyFans.
God, Dr. Aimee, we would be millionaires.
People aren't paying attention to the stuff I'm saying. I mean, I figure at some point I'm going to be there because I'm just going to, maybe when I'm a lot older and my goat tits won't be as shocking for people. Maybe people want to pay for watching those.
You can catch Dr. Aimee at the Comedy Cellar every Thursday night at 9 p.m.
in Los Angeles.
I'm trying. Hoping to open for Amy Schumer one day. We're both Amy.
I mean, it's meant to be.
She's a Long Island girl. We could try to put in a word.
There you go. There you go.
Dr. Aimee, thank you so much for being here with us. It was truly an honor.
This has been incredible.
OnlyFans.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We know we didn't disappoint, or Dr. Aimee definitely didn't disappoint. We are so grateful to have you in this space with us.
Be sure you're following us over at Cast of Two Moms and the Cast Compass because next week we're diving into something big, how Saturn's latest shift, more astrology, could be the reason you're feeling stuck, burnt out, or completely ready for a fresh start.
If you've been questioning your career, your energy, your direction, your fertility, you're going to want to hear this one.
Follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if this already feels like home, which we really hope it does, leave us a review and share the show with a friend.
And let us know what topics you'd love to hear us dive into next. Bye.
The Cast Compass Podcast. New episodes every week.
Follow, rate, and share with someone who needs a little direction.